on earth did you end up working for the Royals?
I saw an ad for grouse beating. No idea what grouse beating was, but it sounded fun. It just said it was in the Scottish Highlands. I love Scotland, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And when we got up there, I realised that we were grouse beating for 2 estates. One was called Dalnabo Estate, the other one was Balmoral Estate, for the royal family. And so you would have a lot of aristocrats and businessmen who would pay a fee to hunt grouse.
In case you're wondering, a grouse is a kind of pheasant.
You walk along with a flag beating the heather to flush the grouse in a particular direction, and then they come out of their turrets with their guns and they pow, pow, pow. And so there were a couple of times that the royal family themselves were out hunting and we were doing the grouse beating for them. I didn't actually intentionally apply for a job to work for them. I'm not trying to get myself out of this. I didn't realise until we got up there that it was for the royal family. But yeah, that was something.
So did you say, kia ora, can we have our land back, please?
Oh, we did. Of course we did. Just being cheeky. Yeah, we did.
Did they talk to you or anything?
No, they were fine. They had a laugh with us, and he was quite young, but Prince Harry at the time was helping us to pick the grouse up and working alongside and joking with us and whatnot. So, yeah, it was an interesting time in my life.
These days, Tina Ngata is an environmental and human rights advocate. She's also an outspoken authority on the Doctrine of Discovery, a concept based on a series of declarations by the Vatican in the 1400s known as the Papal Bulls, used to justify colonisation.
And the basic idea of the Papal Bulls were that these imperial powers had a religious responsibility to win these new lands and territories for the Catholic Church. And the kind of sweetener for them was that any lands or territories that were held by non-Christians were available for them to claim. So it effectively dispossessed Indigenous people who at that time were not Christian.
And that's exactly what they did. They went out, they subdued, they vanquished, they murdered, they carried out all of these horrid acts. Some of the darkest times humanity has seen was carried out in the name of these papal laws. We're an example of that here in Aotearoa as well, and the most prolific of the nations in that story is Britain and the British monarchy.
We always wondered why did they think it was right or just to do what they did was, to take our lands and to push us off our lands and try to eliminate us as a people. And then we discovered this Doctrine of Discovery. It just kind of made things understandable as to where they got their direction from.
The Doctrine of Discovery has existed as a religious and legal concept for centuries. Only a month ago, Pope Francis officially repudiated it.
What did you think of the Pope's declaration?
So the statement makes some very broad kind of admissions around how colonising is bad and it harms people, and yeah, it's like, yes, these are all obvious truths, but they never actually say, and we colonised, and we're sorry for what we did, and we came up with those laws, and we should never have done that. And importantly, their repudiation is not a rescindment.
After the Pope made his statement, was there any reaction from the royal family?
No, there hasn't been any.
Why is that?
When you talk to colonial governments, they say, oh, the Doctrine of Discovery, that's a church thing. When you talk to the church, they go, oh, it was the governments that were doing it. It was both of them.
Tina has just returned from New York and the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Peoples. This year, she was given 3 minutes to speak.
And your mic gets turned off at 3 minutes, doesn't matter what you're in the middle of saying.
No waiata then.
No waiata, no mihi, you know, right into it. You got to get your points across very succinctly, and you need to know how to issue recommendations that can make it into the report very succinctly.
And with time running out, the climate crisis was front and centre.
I spoke about the difficulty of trying to deliver a health service within the context of climate change, and talked about the impact of the cyclones in Tairāwhiti and how that confounded our ability to be able to get proper health care for our whānau, and still continues to do that. I asked for recommendations to be made to the UN General Assembly that specifically address rural, isolated Indigenous peoples, because we face a whole different set and distinct, unique set of challenges as well.
From grouse beating in Scotland to the United Nations in New York and back home to Te Tairāwhiti. A last word on the monarchy.
What's the place for royalty now?
In England, at home, on their land.